Welcome to the Mind, Body, Home show, Growing into Health. In this episode, we encourage parents of children of all ages to think about what it means to cultivate a future-ready generation. That means fostering outdoor living and essential survival skills without the use of technology. Think 200 years in the past, now the future. I challenge young parents to inspire their children to embrace activities like backpacking, camping, fishing, farming, plant identification, astronomy, and biology. Today we have the pleasure of diving deep into the wisdom of Becca Farrow, an outdoor wilderness teacher reshaping our understanding of home. Becca challenges us to seek comfort within ourselves, asking, what do I truly need to thrive? Her insights reveal the power of joy, gratitude, and happiness as catalysts for global healing and a new movement called Earthing Man, an experience that supports this vision of a world reliant on individual efforts. Here's my conversation with Becca.
So today in the Mind, Body, Home show, Growing into Health, we have Becca Farrow, and she is, look at this, already starting with the energy. Becca, how are you today?
I'm amazing, Joni. Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
An honor for me because I've been watching you grow and shift and experience your life in this world today through the work that you do. And there's so many questions I want to start off with. Always just the first question is, because it's all about the home, right? And how we are connected to the home through our physical and our spiritual being, right? Our energetic beings. And we kind of attract the different spaces and the different things that we bring into our lives through who we are and what we emanate outward from inside, where you've been and why you're here right now in terms of home. And we're going to encapsulate it into home, because I see you as someone who is always in flux, always changing, and always exploring new different things and new spaces. Becca, tell me a little bit about what you do.
My history of home. So I grew up in Connecticut and New York. My parents were divorced. So right off the bat, I had two separate homes. And my mom had to move a lot because of financial insecurities. So by the time I left for college, I had moved homes, I think 10 or 13 times, 10 to 13. I've counted, I forgot. And it made it really easy for me to flee the nest, I think. I wasn't attached to a house because I moved so much. And I think it allowed me to really realize what is material and what is meaningful to me. So I went off to college, and then I signed a lease for 2 years, went to school. My lease ended, and it just made sense to move into my car because I wanted to head west to the promised land. And I had just finished an internship program in California where I was experiencing the world of outdoor education through a nonprofit organization. And every single person that worked for this company was living in their vehicle or their van or camping. And that's not something I had ever seen coming from the East Coast. It's much less common on the East. So it blew my mind and expanded my world because I realized, okay, this is possible. You can live more simply, and transitions become more easeful when you are able to just live on the road or out of your vehicle. So when my lease ended in May 2018, I moved right into my car at the time, which was a little Subaru Impreza, a little sports car. And I just drove west with every single thing I owned. At that time, I didn't really know what I needed or wanted because I had been so domestic, you could say. And along the road, I was just getting rid of stuff everywhere I went. I'm not using this stuff. Yeah, so I think I've been traveling ever since. It's been 5 years, on and off, with an ebb and flow of grounding and then lifting back up. And it feels really liberating for me to just find home in my heart. I've had to find home in my heart because I've stayed nomadic, and it feels really like it's created a lot of fortitude for me to do so. And at this point, I'm really against so many societal systems that come when you end up signing a lease in a home, paying rent, paying utilities, paying into the systems that I don't support. Whether it's the gas, the water, the electricity. I find when I'm living in nature, I'm using way less resources and I'm way more connected to nature. So yeah, it just becomes a loophole when I sign the lease. I then have to get a full-time job and I have way less time to connect to my soul, myself, the natural world. I'm working for the man. I'm funneling it right back into the system. I'm paying taxes. And then whenever I pull away from that, I realize, wow, okay, there's a whole other way to live, free from those systems. And
Is there a way to shift the mindset of those of another generation older than yours, that's set in their ways and their patterning and the society that you just described with feeding into the system, you know, finding the picket fence, the house, the mortgage, the taxes, the job, and you know, paying into it? What can you say to somebody um, to, who wants to, who admires that type of living that you have, and they want to do something and change this like way that they do things, but they have a hard time shifting that gear, shifting that mindset?
that can be really hard to get out. It can.
Yeah.
I think it's really important to ask yourself, what do I really need to thrive? What do I truly need? And what am I willing to let go of? Because, you know, my lifestyle is definitely not for everyone. I've seen a lot of people drop into van life and quickly leave because they realize they require more stability and more comfort. But I think within the framework of a physical house, there are things that you can learn to give up or to incorporate into your lifestyle. As simple as making a dedication to how you're utilizing different resources. I think about resources a lot because that's, you know, coming from the earth, but we often don't see it. There's all these hundreds of thousands of miles of pipes underground, funneling wires and water and gas. And I think it's just really important to reflect like what you're using and how, and little steps like, can you find a local spring to get your water from? It's not only better for you, but it's better for the world because we need the water to stay in the water table and not get pumped up. Water is such a big thing because we need it every day. And when you're living on the road, you have to be really careful with your water usage, especially in the desert, and be mindful of how much you're using. You can't just use gallons of water to wash dishes every night. So I've gotten so good at doing dishes outside and using really, really little amount of water. And then the minute I'm coming into a house, I just I see the faucet running and I'm like, this is insane. This is so abundant, but do we really need this faucet to run the whole time? And I do dishes very differently in a home than most people that live in houses because I'm just thoughtful about the water.
Being in the lifestyle that you have, which is like nomadic.
I like that term.
You do?
You know why? Because it's so rooted in our ancestry. Nomadic living is how people lived for thousands and thousands of years because they had to move with the seasons to survive, and that's how I move, and it feels really raw and healthy to connect to that lineage.
Where do you feel the most comfortable?
I can find comfort really easily. Yeah. I mean, I think both comfort and home come from within. It comes from a deep sense of security with who you are and where you are and trust. trust in the universe. But we have basic needs. Food, shelter, water are the main. And if you can guarantee those things, I can be pretty comfortable no matter where I am.
And what is comfort? Some comfort to you might be different from comfort for another person. Like you said, some people who decide they want to go and live in their van.
Yeah, and comfort is a beautiful thing, and not to be discouraged. Like, I think being more comfortable allows you to let go and relax and tune into, your higher self, or just stay more focused and more centered. When you're uncomfortable, you're stressed, and it makes it really hard to be productive.
You've defined home already as a place where you feel you are, right? Wherever you go, you can find that peace, right? And the comforts that we're talking about, those are easy, whatever that is. It could just be a sleeping bag on the ground under the stars in at 72 degrees,
Yeah.
evening, right?
Mhm.
And that's a perfect scenario. Just
I am feeling ready to find a house. I'm very passionate about earth building, and it is a way of building with the land that you have on your plot, for very low cost. And these homes are incredibly self-sustaining, meaning heat and temperature regulating. And yeah, just I want to find a way to live more in tune with the natural world, but still have more of the comforts and the stability that comes with a house. And I want to offer that to other people. So I would like to create a school, wherever my home ends up being, where I share this knowledge with other people so they can do the same. There's a lot of ways to go about building a natural home, and it's pretty amazing. And you brought up hoarding, but there are ways to save every single piece of trash that we cultivate as a person and build with it. It's incredible. You can save and wash all of your plastic and stuff it into bigger plastic vessels and create what they call eco bricks. And you just pack those right into the walls of your home, incredibly insulating. And it's like acting as the brick. And then you fill in the mortar with a mud, hay mixture. It's almost a beautiful thing, I think, what's happening societally in the world, the political climate. It's not affordable to survive. It's very challenging to survive, and I think we have to do so as a collective. And so when I speak of this dream, I'm currently in the works of cultivating a contract for a group of people, and a property with enough land where everyone can have the autonomy to cultivate their own dreams, their own individual dreams, while still funneling in resources to the collective dream as well. So earth building would just be an aspect of that, and all of the homes on the land are hopefully going to be built with the earth. But what you're seeing in sustainable industries, unfortunately, is that it funnels back to the capitalistic model that it originally goes against. It's really hard to not funnel back into that model. There's just not a lot of accessible and affordable options for people who want to learn to build this way or want to take steps towards being more sustainable in their house.
not even talk. There's a lot of research, scientific research that's pointing in the direction future of our planet, of our resources, as and also even this way of communicating perhaps may not even be existing in the next 10, 15 years without this type of information to allow for the communication styles we're so accustomed to, without any outside communication, being able to build from whether it's up, out, off the ground, or inside the ground, whichever, your group, the people that you want to be with together in one place, because that's where you'd have to set up. That would be your new home. Where would that be?
Well, I'm I'm feeling like I've been really attached to figuring that out for a long time. And as I travel, always having that in my mind, seeking is this the place? Is this the place? And I honestly just feel like nowhere has it all. Like we're always gonna find things that are lacking in every location. And I'm starting to really believe that it doesn't matter so much where. I think it matters who I do this with, and again, I'm in an accessible location for other people to come in and tap into the education that we offer and all the offerings. But I'm less focused on where, because I feel like the first project that we launch is going to be a model. My goal is to create a really solid foundation and a model that we can then replicate throughout the country in different biomes that offer different things. So,
Do you see it as something that's coming off the surface of the earth and building out, or do you see building inward, more like inside the earth?
yeah, I want to do both. Like, it's really brilliant to build somewhat in the ground because the earth is naturally super insulating. But I also really love tree houses. And I have some friends that are trained in tree climbing and building with lumber. So I think we'll have a little bit of everything. You know, cellars are genius for insulating and fermenting and creating um, a dark, cool space. But yeah, I hope to do it all. It depends on how hard the earth is.
Do you have a favorite location in the country, like a favorite place that you've been to so far that you you could say, yeah, that's it?
Mm, I don't. Yeah, I don't. I have a lot of places I love and that I would be utterly content investing my time and energy into. But I've never found one place that says this is home. And I think there's a reason for that because I think there's a lot of homes for me. And yeah, I I see the benefits of creating in different biomes. The desert has so much to offer, but I don't want to be there year round. The Northeast, an incredible place, but I don't want to be there year round. And I think the ultimate goal is to have bases in different locations, again, that offer different things. And then having a nomadic community within that framework of people that are able to source to these different locations and invest different chunks of time and yeah, and then maybe internationally, I actually know an organization called Nomadic Communities that are working to do just that, are working to create like a global web of different sustainable communities throughout the globe. And yeah, these could be basis for that as well.
That's fascinating. So what is the name of this again? This global
Nomadic communities.
nomadic communities. And can you just go there and participate, become a member? How does that work?
So they have a really cool, really thorough, thought out foundation. They require you to do seasons, they call them, if you want to be a part of the nomadic community structure. And the whole framework is built off of a tree. So you start as a sprout and you work your way up to being a trunk. And each season you do is a 3-month term, and you have to submit a proposal stating your 6-year plan, your 6-year goal in life, and then how can we use your seasons to funnel you closer to your dream while still using your skill sets and whatever you have to offer to build the dream in that location as well. So it's a reciprocal system where the individual has their vision, their heart vision, and they're contributing to the property of the location that has a vision, and it's a give and take.
For anybody like you, younger than you are, who's seeking, or the same age as you are, because you are the future, you're the builders of tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
when I come across a lot of young people who are really lost and
Yeah.
looking for something a little different and not the standard.
It's so easy to feel lost, and I want everyone to know that you're not alone in that. I always say one thing that we all have in common is that no one knows what's going on here. You know, we like to think we know what we're doing here on Earth, but we're all pretty confused and we're all often pretty insecure. And so we can commune over that and, you know, just be vulnerable in that. And like I said before, like you can't do it alone. Some of my core advice to people is find the people that light you up, that you trust, and figure out how to uplift your dreams together as a collective. Like this is what we have to do now. You just cannot do it alone. And some resources, you can always contact me. I'd love to um, to provide support and to hear people. So I'm a resource, absolutely. And there's some really cool websites that are work trade based, which is a really cool agreement between someone with a current project and someone who wants to travel and learn from projects and contribute their time as an exchange. One of them is called workaway.com. The other one's called Workpackers. And then there's Woofing. These are all resources for people that are seeking to gain knowledge, not a traditional way, and are also willing to contribute their time to do so. And often the agreements include food and housing of some sort. Each one is unique, but it's a really affordable way to travel the world and gain some skills and make connections and apply yourself to projects and people that are already doing the thing. I meet so many people that want the same thing. I mean, I think ultimately all of us want the same thing, which is love and home and support and community. All you can do is do your work, your inner work, and show up in the outside world. And often that is enough to influence someone to start questioning their decisions, their life, their purpose. And that's just something I want to acknowledge right off the bat. It's so important to know. Like, I spent a lot of time trying to change other people, and it's exhausting. You just can't do it. You just have to show up as who you are, and that is enough to inspire change in the world. Accessibility is such an important thing for me. And so again, just creating opportunities that are accessible for all types of people, not just the rich, not just charging an obscene amount for sustainable workshops, because that's just going to funnel people with money. We don't just want people with money. I don't just want like-minded people coming to my property. I want all types of people. And so with that, you also have to make it attractive to the wider audience, to all types of people, by, I think, just staying really open-minded and creating different offerings that target different audiences.
Let's talk about Earthing Man. Tell me about that. What is Earthing Man?
Throughout the year, we try to offer multiple different experiences for our community and broader community to tap into one another, tap into the natural world, and tap into their heart. And just creating a container, creating a space for people to do their own work. We're not necessarily, telling people what to do or facilitating. We're just cultivating the experience. And then the magic falls in naturally. Everyone shows up as who they are and bring their gifts to the table, and often leave in a deep reflective state, or leave feeling inspired to promote more change in their inner circle, wherever they come from.
I love that. You just came back from an Earthing Man experience.
Yeah, we took 30 people on a disco themed river trip. And this is what we can do for now because we are nomadic. We don't have an actual place to hold people. So we hold people in the natural world and public lands. And yeah, you can just imagine what's going to happen when we have more space to do that. These immersive transformational experiences in the outdoors do for the earth and the individual. It's a collective reminder to play and to celebrate all that we do have. It's so easy when you're in your routine, when you're in society, to just when you're watching the news, just all of it. It's so heavy. And we forget to shake that off, and we forget our birth given right to play and to experience joy. And it's so easy to just enter a state of empathizing for those who can't. Or
So again, I'm going to go back to the question, like, where would be the ideal central location for you?
I'm not so sure, but again, I don't know if it matters. The first place is definitely going to be a huge trial and create the model that then we can cultivate and share and spread to more locations.
So if you were to pitch this idea to, let's say, some of the top business minds in the country, what would your pitch be? What would it sound like? What would your elevator pitch sound like?
Oh my gosh. What would you say if I told you that the highest vibration emotions in the world, joy, gratitude, happiness, play, can cultivate global healing, that those emotions can heal the planet? What if I told you that I have the experiences that can guarantee those emotions? It's so important to give ourselves permission to do things that make us feel joy. And it's scientifically proven that those vibrations are creating or raise the collective vibration. Like, you experiencing happiness can then directly influence someone else to experience it also.
Yeah.
And that can heal the plants around us and the soil beneath our feet.
Like, what do you have to say to others that are taking on this journey?
Something really simple that every single person listening to this can do every day is ask yourself, what is my heart vision? Like, what is my ultimate dream when I think about what will bring me joy? And starting to hone in on that a little bit. It doesn't have to be too specific, but visualizing it, see yourself in your highest joy and trying to focus on that before bed and right when you wake up in the morning. And gratitude is so important. A practice that I try to do when I'm not feeling grateful is I make lists of everything that I do have. Instead of focusing on the scarcity, what I don't have, I think about, what do I have? And then you realize, oh my God, I have so much.
Right.
I have so much. And if you just stay focused on that, it will guide you. It'll all fall into place.
How can we get in touch with you? And when we get in touch with you, what are you going to do? What can we do? How can we help you?
Cool. Thanks, Joni.
And
My name is Becca Farrow. You can, I suppose, email me. That works. My email is two B's, ECCA08@gmail.com. And I would love to hear from anyone. I'm such a people person, so I love talking. I love talking about your dreams. I love figuring out how we can uplift them and ground them into reality. I love you all so much.